Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV by Gba'Le Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Buhari to politicians, call your talks to order or else. EFCC losing its standards under your leadership. Arewa youths blast Bawa. 181 inmates pardoned in Rivers. 23 staff of electoral body INEC faces sanctions in Kwara states over illegal acts. Ondo-Amotekun arrests 100 suspected criminals for offences. Heavy gunshots in Zamfara as Nigeria Army battle with terrorists. Still on the headlines, one dies, another injured as warehouse under construction collapses in Ibadan. And on foreign story, Italian court rejects Nigeria's $1.1 billion compensation demand. And on sports, Osai Samuel elated with maiden Super Eagles invitation. Now the news in detail. Arched by the growing wave of election-related violence across the country, President Muhammadu Buhari has warned politicians about the consequences of their actions, warning them to rein in their talks or risk commensurate backlash from law enforcement agencies. According to him, the federal government is concerned about the resolve to violence by politicians, saying within a space of 1 month, 32 such incidents have been recorded. The president's admonition came as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, also decried a spate of violence in the country, particularly in relation to electioneering ahead of next year's general election, saying it has tracked 50 incidents of campaign violence in 21 states. Specifically, the commission condemned the renewed attacks on its facilities, explaining that it has begun the process of identifying 65,699 uncollected PVCs destroyed in its Abeokuta, Ogun State office, with a view to reprinting them immediately. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed these on Friday in Abuja at an emergency meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security (ICCEs). Speaking before the meeting went into a closed door, Professor Yakubu said 2 developments this week necessitated this meeting. First, the simultaneous attack on our local government area offices in Abeokuta South in Ogun State and Ede South local government office in Osun State. The attack in Abeokuta South happened around 1:15 a.m., while that of Ede happened around 6 a.m. yesterday, Thursday, 10th November 2022. Our immediate conclusion is that they may not be isolated, but we'll leave this determination to the security agencies who are investigating the incident. Secondly, the spate of attacks during electioneering campaigns by political parties is increasing rather than decreasing. Moving on to the next story, the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum (AYCF) has expressed worry that the standard of the current leadership of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), led by Abdulrasheed Bawa, is losing steam too fast. The youth stated that the agency must fasten its belt and stop the downward slide in operational standards. Alhaji Yarima Shitima, national president of the forum, in the statement made available to Daily Post in Kaduna on Saturday said, "We have been following closely the action of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), hasty moves to nail another northern governor, Mohammed Bello Matawali. We feel deeply concerned to call out the EFCC, led by Abdulrasheed Bawa, the disease from this repeated embarrassment of starting what it cannot finish. The EFCC, as an institution of public service that is crucial to sanitize Nigeria, should not be pulled down by the actions of one man." The forum rejects the strategy of media trial because it downgrades not just the operational standards of the agency, but it amounts to deliberate policy of intimidation. In a democratic setting such as Nigeria's, the forum said that the rule of law is an essential ingredient as it threatens the constitutional rights and privileges of all Nigerians, unlike in a military dictatorship. The EFCC is meant to be an agency of uncompromising standards that should be a reflection of our domestic and international image in the fight against corruption, the statement concluded. Moving to Rivers State from the north, 181 inmates across the 3 correctional service centers in Rivers State have been granted pardon by the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Simon Amadi. The CJ disclosed this at the closed-door, a 2-day goal delivery exercise at the Port Harcourt Maximum Correctional Center on Friday. He said the exercise was part of effort to decongest the correctional centers across the state. The Chief Judge, who was represented by the Deputy Chief Registrar Litigation, Menem Friday Poronun, said the exercise was a prelude to the 2022-2023 State Legal Year ceremony. He explained that the inmates granted pardon were also discharged and acquitted from their offenses. Chief Magistrate Poronun further disclosed that the CJ will embark on another round of goal delivery exercise on the 22nd of March 2023 as part of activities put together to herald the 2022-2023 legal year in the state. He also advised the freed inmates to turn a new leaf and be responsible, adding that the gesture was part of the new measures put in place to reform the judiciary and the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. Garba Atairu Madami, the INEC resident electoral commissioner, revealed this in Ilorin at a stakeholders meeting with members of registered political parties contesting the 2023 general elections, as well as security agencies, adding that the current total voting population of Kwara State is 1.6 million. No fewer than 23 staff members of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Kwara State are facing sanctions for their involvement in illegal voters registration in the state. Garba Atairu, the INEC resident electoral commissioner, revealed this in Ilorin at a stakeholders meeting with members of registered political parties, as well as security agents, adding that the current total voting population is 1.6 million. He bemoaned the poor response of the people of the state to the collection of permanent voters' cards, stating that the commission had 233,856 uncollected voters' cards from 2011 to 2019. Madami explained that of the total number of uncollected voters' cards, only 20,752 had been collected as of October 2022, leaving over 193,000 uncollected. He explained that the stakeholders meeting was necessary as the first step was ensuring that the state election runs smoothly next year. Madami vowed to safeguard the electoral process by holding elections that are free, fair, transparent, peaceful and credible in the eyes of Kwara residents. In his remarks, the State Police Commissioner, Paul Odama, warned politicians against vote buying, which was prohibited by the electoral law. He advised them to engage in issue-based campaigns, avoid thuggery and damage to opposing political party billboards. Odama also cautioned politicians to desist from feeding their supporters with hard drugs to guarantee violence-free campaigns and elections in the state come 2023. From Kwara State, we go to Ondo State. The Ondo State Security Network, popularly known as Amotekun Corps, have arrested 100 suspects through the inter-boundary operation between Ondo and Osun State, tagged Operation Gba'Ko. The state commander of Amotekun, Adetunji Adeleye, said the operation is designed to ensure that travelers are safe during the Yuletide. The parade of the suspect comes a few days after the flag off of the Operation Gba'Ko by Ondo and Osun commands of the Amotekun Corps. 100 suspects are being arrested during the operation by operatives between the two commands. While parading some of the arrested suspects before journalists in Akure, the state's commander of Ondo Amotekun Corps, Adetunji Adeleye, said the suspects were arrested for various offenses such as kidnapping, armed robbery, vandalism of public utilities, among others. The Ondo Amotekun commander said the commander will continue to operate in synergy with other security agencies to make the state unsafe for criminals. Also paraded by the Ondo Amotekun Corps is a 16-year-old boy, Precious Ekwebowoye, who was arrested for allegedly having a carnal knowledge with a female. If you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV, and more to come is coming from the next story in Zamfara State. At least 8 terrorist members were killed and 4 kidnapped victims were rescued on Friday by the troops of Operation Forest Sanity of Nigeria Army in Zamfara State. This was confirmed by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damamadam, stating that the attack terrorist camps were located at Ditse Oku Forest in Lenke and Damaike villages in the Gumi local government area of Zamfara. He added that the Nigerian military personnel, while on the fighting patrol, engaged the terrorists in a firefight, neutralizing 8 bandits while others camped for safety with gunshot wounds. He claimed that the soldiers used the general area after the firefight to rescue 4 kidnapped victims. 6 AK-47 rifles, 40 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, 6 AK-47 magazines, and 32 motorcycles were recovered, according to him. From Zamfara, we go straight to Oyo State, Ibadan, precisely. 1 person has died as a result of injuries sustained when a warehouse under construction collapsed in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Information gathered on Saturday that another person sustained various degrees of injuries, while the incident, which happened in the Soka area of the state capital on Thursday night. The warehouse under construction is behind Hallelujah Petrol Station, Soka, on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It was learned that the warehouse collapsed on a mosque and a structure within another compound, which resulted into the death of 1 person. A teenager identified as Bolaji Babalola as a result of the incident said to information from Daily Post. Others, including one Shegun Abajigi, were seriously injured in the incident. From that story, we go to the foreign story. Nigeria has for the 5th time lost its case in the long-running OPL 245 court case in Italy. On Friday, the appeal court in Milan, Italy, rejected the country's request for $1.1 billion compensation from Shell and Eni, the 2 synergy giants that bought the oil block of Malabu Oil and Gas Limited in 2011. The Nigerian government had alleged that there was corruption in the deal, leading to a number of criminal trials in Nigeria and Italy. The Milan Appeal Court rejected Nigeria's civil claims and promised to make its reasons public within 90 days. We are pleased that these civil proceedings have been dismissed. This follows the Milan Criminal Tribunal's findings that there was no case to answer for Shell or its former employees when they were fully acquitted in 2021, a decision that was upheld in July 2022 when criminal proceedings ended, Shell said in an emailed comment to the Reuters news agency. And to the last story on the world news. Bright Osai Samuel is delighted with his maiden invitation by Nigeria for their international friendly against Portugal, reports CompleteSport.com. Osai Samuel is eligible to represent both Nigeria and England, but has now decided to pledge his international allegiance to the former. The 24-year-old was named in Nigeria's 23-man squad for the highly anticipated game on Friday by head coach Jose Peseiro. The versatile winger took to social media to celebrate his call-up to the Nigerian national team at senior level. From that sports story, we conclude the world news this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. Buhari to politicians, call your thoughts to order or else. EFCC losing its standard under your leadership, Arewa blast Rashid Bawa. 181 inmates pardoned in Rivers. We're also brought to you, according to INEC, 23 staff of electoral body, INEC face sanctions in Kwara State over illegal acts. And to the sports story, Osai Samuel elated with maiden Super Eagles invitation. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Gba'Le Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Gba'Le Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Gba'Le Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.